Hi, everyone. Welcome back to continue in consumer choice theory. So, I think where we left off, we had introduced the idea of bang for your buck, right, or marginal utility per dollar. That when we make decisions about how to allocate our resources or how to allocate our time, we don't look just at the marginal utility. We look at the marginal utility divided by the price, because we're really looking for bang for your buck. Otherwise, if price were not a factor, right, were not an issue, we'd all have lots and lots of really cool things. That would be, my garage would be full of Porsches, but it's not, right, because I actually get more bang for my buck, more marginal utility per dollar from my Honda. So that's the concept that where we left off. Now, it's going to take us to the rule of equal marginal utility per dollar spent. And this is the idea that you will maximize your total utility by equalizing the marginal utility per dollar. So I'm not sure what happened there. Let's try this again. Maximize total utility by equalizing marginal utility per dollar. Right. So let me give you an example. Or actually, let's write this out a different way. There are hundreds of thousands or millions of things that we could do, ways we could spend our time and our money. How do we know when we're doing sort of the utility maximizing quantity of each? Well, you do something, and we know we've talked about diminishing marginal utility already, right? The longer you do something or the more of something you consume, the less marginal utility you get from additional units. Right? So the fifth and sixth slice of pizza are not nearly as delicious as the first one. Right? But they may cost the same, right? If you're buying slices of pizza at a pizzeria when it's not a pandemic and you're able to do that. So you get the so the marginal utility per dollar is going down, right, because of diminishing marginal utility. But you have that across all the different things that you buy. So we'll just be generic about it and say the marginal utility of A divided by the price of A. So that's for good A. That would describe the bang for your buck from good A. So our theory says that if you're maximizing your utility, the bang for your buck from A should be about equal to the marginal utility divided by the price of utility from B and from C. The marginal utility divided by the price for C. Let me fix that M, that's hard to read. Right across all of the different things that you buy, right? And I just put some ellipses in and went up to Z. But it's saying that the marginal utility you get from buying another sweatshirt, or at least the bang for your buck, should be similar to the bang for your buck from your last pair of shoes and similar to the bang for your buck from the last time you went to the movies with your friends, which, again, is in a non-coronavirus world, right? But you can think about it just with your time at home, too. The marginal utility you got from the last 15 minutes of exercising should be similar to the marginal utility you got from the last 15 minutes of reading a book or watching TV or going for a walk or working on your homework or thinking about something else or FaceTiming with a friend, right? That you do something as long as the bang for your buck is greater than or equal to, roughly, the marginal utility you get from something else. That is the opportunity cost of your time. So let's look at an actual concrete example to illustrate this. I'm going to pick a different color here. Let's start with blue. So let's pick a brighter color. This bright blue. So here's a table. This gives you marginal utility numbers for someone for both pizza, that's over here in the left column, and Pepsi in the right column. And then what's underneath there are marginal utility numbers, that's utils. Now, These utils are unique to an individual. You can't make interpersonal utility comparisons, right? So let's just, what is happening with that? Can't make you can't make them across people, at least not this way. Economists have a couple ways of trying to approximate that or get at that, but none of them are perfect. So we're just going to stick with the basic rule, which is you can't make these interpersonal utility comparisons. You can't say, Bob, rate a Snickers bar on a scale of 1 to 10. And then Bob says, Snickers is an 8. And then you go to Sue and you say, rate a Snickers bar, and she says, well, a Snickers is a 9. So does that mean that Sue likes Snickers more or gets more enjoyment from Snickers? Well, it's hard to say that, because how do you calibrate that scale exactly? Or what if you don't even give them the 10-point scale? You're just like, how much do you like Kit Kat bars? And so someone tries to describe it to you. Can you really measure? Can you compare across people? Now, if Sue uses a scale and says, well, the first slice of pizza gives me 20 units of happiness, and the second slice of pizza gives me 16, and this third one gives me 12. See, I'm reading down the column here for pizza. Or over here, right? And the fourth slice gives me 8, and the fifth slice gives me 4, and the sixth slice, I'm indifferent, right? I get 0 units of utility. And if I eat slice number 7, I'm actually made worse off by 4 units of utility. So in economics, sometimes we call those utils. It's a little goofy, but it's just some unit of happiness or satisfaction. So if Sue gives us her satisfaction from pizza and her satisfaction from Pepsi, we can compare them for Sue, but we can't make a meaningful comparison with the numbers that Sue gives us against the numbers that Bob or Sam or Charlie or Renee or someone else gives us. So there you go. These are marginal utility numbers for Sue, right? For pizza and for Pepsi. So basically, the first slice of pizza gives her 20 units of happiness. The second slice of pizza gives her 16. The first can of Pepsi gives her 9 units of happiness. The second one gives her 8. The third one gives her 7, then 6. So there's diminishing marginal utility in both columns, right? As she consumes more of it, the marginal utility from the next unit goes down. So we have a couple other things to highlight here. In our example, she has $10 to spend. So this is what we call her budget, right? So that's part of her budget constraint. If she's going out with her friends on a Thursday night, and they're going to go to a pizza parlor, and she can either buy pizza and or Pepsi, she has $10 to spend. That's going to constrain her choices. Right? In the world of scarcity, there are trade-offs, right? We have constraints. And then the other important information is down here in the bottom. Pizza is $2 a slice. Pepsi is $1 per can. Right? So we could make a note here. The price of pizza, price of za, is $2, and the price of Pepsi is $1. So how does she decide what to get? How do you decide, what to purchase? Well, this is where marginal utility per dollar comes into play. Because do you just look at the first slice of pizza and say, hey, pizza gives you 20 utils, right? 20 units of happiness, and Pepsi only gives you 9. Therefore, I'm going to buy pizza, right? Because pizza gives me more bang. But isn't that like our last talk where I said the Porsche gives me all of this, this huge amount of happiness or satisfaction, or at least I think it would, right? That there's a huge amount of marginal utility for my first Porsche. But we don't make decisions based just on bang, right? We look at bang for your buck. So what is it that we need to think about? What is the marginal utility per dollar? So you got to take that marginal utility number and adjust by the price. So a slice of pizza gives me 20 units of happiness, but it costs me $2. What's my marginal utility per dollar? Marginal utility divided by price. So pull out your calculators if you need to, but you've got 20, that's the utility, right, for the first slice, and the price is 2. What's the margin utility divided by the price? Margin utility, that's 20 divided by 2. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and write that in for you. There's 10. In fact, I'm going to skip the dollar signs. In fact, I don't want the dollar sign, right? I just divide it by price. My bad. 20 divided by 2 is 10. Then the second slice of pizza, what's the marginal utility per dollar? What's the bang for my buck? Well, 16 divided by 2, that's 8. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 4, 2, 0. Looks kind of sloppy, doesn't it? Let's try that one again. There we go. And then you could keep going here, but I'm not even going to go that much farther down, because once it goes negative, does it make sense to spend money on something that will make you worse off? Yeah, probably not. Right, so when we're in this range down here where the values are negative, we wouldn't purposefully do that to make ourselves worse off, right? This is, maybe we've made errors in judgment and we've eaten too much and then we felt worse, right? But we thought at the time it would make us better off. That was just a mistake in judgment. But we wouldn't purposefully keep consuming where each slice makes us worse off than before. So there's the column in black that's printed there. That's the marginal utility for each slice of pizza. That's your bang. But the column I wrote in pink, that's marginal utility divided by the price. That gives you bang for your buck. Whoa, what happened here? Now we need to do the same thing over here. This one is even easier because the marginal utility divided by the price, when the price is $1, means that it is all the same, right? 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, I think we're going to run out of money there. So we have $10 to spend. Now we have marginal utility per dollar information. Let's pick a nice bright color here to work this through. What would you buy first? You have $10 in your pocket. You're trying to maximize your utility. So what are you going to buy? Well, the thing that gives me the most bang for my buck, pizza gives me 10 units of happiness per dollar. Pepsi gives me 9 units of happiness per dollar. What am I going to buy first? The pizza. Right? So I'm going to spend $2 on the pizza. So let's keep track of my spending. I'll just write that over here on the side there. I spent $2. Now, what do I buy next? The next slice of pizza gives me 16 units of happiness. Now, how much Pepsi do I have so far? So far, I've got no Pepsi. So the first Pepsi, which would be on the first line over here. So do you see how I'm comparing the second slice of pizza and the first slice of Pepsi? So do I buy, what do I want next? The second slice of pizza or the first slice of Pepsi? Which gives me the biggest bang for my buck? Well, the pizza gives me 16. That's a lot bigger than 9, but remember I said bang for my buck, right? So it's not just a question of bang, but it's bang for your buck. The marginal utility per dollar for the second slice of pizza is 8. The marginal utility per dollar for the first Pepsi is 9. So after I buy a slice of pizza, next up I would buy a Pepsi. How much does a Pepsi cost me? That's $1. So I've spent $3 in total. So as long as I get positive, marginal utility from this, I can keep going. I have more money. I'm not constrained yet. So what do I want to buy next? Pizza or Pepsi? Remember, so I'm not looking just at bang. I'm looking at bang for my buck. Turns out the second slice of pizza and the second Pepsi each gives me 8 units of happiness per dollar. So I could buy either one. Ultimately, I have $7 left. So what do you think I'm going to ultimately do? Yeah, I'm going to buy one of each. So I'm going to buy my second slice of pizza and my second Pepsi. I'm going to spend another $2, $3, so we'll write that up there. So what am I at now? So far I've spent $6. I've got $4 left. How am I going to spend it? Well, what is the next highest bang for my buck? Marginal utility per dollar. Third slice of pizza is 12, but it cost me $2, so it gives me 6 units of happiness per dollar. The third Pepsi gives me 7. Right? 7 units of happiness per dollar. That's higher, so I'm going to buy that. So I'm going to spend another $1. What are we going to do next? Well, the third slice of pizza and the fourth Pepsi each give me 6 units of happiness per dollar. Which one can I do? I could do either one, and then I'd still have a little money left over, and ultimately, right, I could do both. So there's another 3. So we'd split 6, 7, 10. Oh, now we're out of money. So this is where I stop. So ultimately, to maximize my utility, our theory is suggesting that I would buy 3 slices of pizza and 4 cans of Pepsi. And what's the total utility that would give me? 20 plus 16 plus 12 plus 9 plus 8 plus 7 plus 6. You can add those up. I think it's about 72 if I remember right. And so here's the challenge. This is what I'll leave you with for this, this video. See if there's any other way you can spend $10 and get more total utility than you did with 3 slices of pizza and 4 Pepsis. You can fiddle with this a little bit, see what you can find. Ultimately, you're going to find that the highest total utility you can get is here, because imagine if you, on the margin, right, if you wanted to buy another slice of pizza, you'd have to give up 2 cans of Pepsi, right? So those 2 cans of Pepsi that you'd have to give up gave you satisfaction of 6 and 7. That's 13 total units of satisfaction from those last 2 Pepsis, and you would trade them for a slice of pizza that gave you 8. So that would make your total utility go down. On the other hand, you could give up their last slice of pizza that gave you 12 units of satisfaction, and you could buy 2 more cans of Pepsi that would give you 5 plus 4, that's 9. That would also cause your total utility to go down. So fiddle with it a little bit if you want, but the idea is that you will maximize your total utility by buying things to the point where the marginal utility per dollar is equal or as close to it as you can get. And that was the rule we had up here, the rule of equal marginal utility per dollar spent. All right, we've got a few more things to talk about. I'm going to split it into a separate video.